All right, so now let's walk through how to generate 5 plus $10,000 projects each week using LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is one of the newcomers to my process. I haven't always used LinkedIn, but I'm actually finding it very effective at finding client streams and helping me find high quality projects. So a lot of what we do here in LinkedIn is going to be similar to what you've seen in the Slack and Google videos. So we're just going to start off with a simple search, RFP website design. And the very first thing that you're going to want to do is go over here to content. I think by default, it kind of shows people and jobs and stuff like that. And so if you go to content, you'll be able to see what people are actually posting on the site. And this is super powerful because a ton of people go to LinkedIn to share jobs with their network. So once you've done your initial search, you can go over here to sort by and click on latest. Again, so now you're searching through everybody's LinkedIn networks for the content that they've posted, including your search term. So in this case, RFP website design. One of the reasons that I love LinkedIn is that oftentimes the actual decision makers behind the RFPs and the jobs that are available and getting posted to LinkedIn are the actual people who have posted it here. So I found that the closer you can get to the actual decision makers as early in the process as possible, the better your chances are. Okay, so let's go through this list. The first thing I'm seeing here is that there's an RFP website design, development, and content accepting proposals until May 26th. So that looks like a great one, right? And it's really just that easy to start finding gigs and requests for proposals. So that's one of the reasons I really like LinkedIn. I'll just kind of go the same route here that I did on some of the other videos. The other thing about LinkedIn that's really great is they allow you to upload documents directly on the platform, which is great for RFPs again. So here's another really nice RFP that just got posted 5 days ago. And if you look here, it says prepared by Isabella Colainiani, fractal proposal writer. So that's interesting because that's the actual person who has posted this. And that's going to come into play once we talk about how to kind of respond to some of these RFPs. So this is another really good one, looks like. The review process for each of these is going to be very similar to a lot of the other modules we've talked about, of just kind of looking at the RFPs, seeing if they're pretty reasonable in what their expectations are, and then just creating a proposal quickly and submitting it, as well as using the Q&A process that most RFP processes kind of have. So as you can see here, now we've in just a couple minutes, we've already found 2 really good RFPs in this website design niche. The process would look similar for any type of niche you want. So you can put RFP layout design, or if you're a writer, writing, or whatever it is that your niche that you're targeting is. And here's another one. So as you can see, you can go through them pretty quickly and just start finding a bunch of different RFPs, oftentimes by the actual writer of the RFP. Now, something else that I really like about LinkedIn is that oftentimes people will post about an RFP, but they won't include a direct link to it. And so why do I like that? Oftentimes in the post, they'll say, email me for the actual RFP. And I find that that's really great because it adds a little bit of exclusivity to the leads that you may find here as well. Often what that process sort of looks like is, let's take this one for example and say they didn't post the proposal and they were asking people to kind of reply to them and acquire the proposal that way. What you would do is actually connect with them by sending a friend request. So this is how you would send a friend request. And in this message, what I would recommend is saying something like, hi, Isabella, or whatever the first name is, can I obtain a copy of the RFP? So I've done this numerous times with various different clients whenever they have a private RFP like this, and it almost always gets me a copy of the RFP, which is really great because very few people are actually going to go the extra effort and do this. So your competition will be a lot lower. Not only are these proposals going to be more exclusive, but it's also a great way to open up the dialogue because, as you can see, the decision maker is here directly on LinkedIn and using the platform, and you have a direct line into their inbox on the platform. So for example, I might send something a couple weeks later and say, hey, I've decided to send in my proposal. I'm going to review and submit something in the next couple of weeks. And then maybe a couple of weeks after that, I might say, hey, I just sent in my proposal. Are you the right person to confirm that it was received? And as you can see there, you're kind of building trust. You're kind of following up and proving that you're a very reliable person. I'd even consider responding to RFPs that aren't in your wheelhouse and letting them know that you're going to send it to a couple awesome agencies to refer work to them. Another way to kind of build trust with the clients. So not all of the projects on LinkedIn are going to be RFPs. I actually recommend searching for non-RFPs on LinkedIn as well. So let's walk through how to do that next. A couple more terms you might search for is seeking freelance and then your niche. And again, go to content. And you'll see that oftentimes people are posting, just reaching out to their network and looking for a freelancer in sort of your niche. So here's one, for example. I'm seeking a part-time copywriter or professional blogger to create posts, and then a direct email address. And that was actually the next thing I was going to mention, which is oftentimes you can actually get a direct email address just by adding the word email to any of your searches. Or in this case, it looks like if you would have used reach out at, that might be a way to also find a email address attached. And right below that is another one here, also looking for a content writer. So as you can see, I've done a search here. This has taken me maybe a couple minutes, but there are tons and tons of opportunities on the platform. A couple more terms that I might recommend for you: searching the word budget, searching the words agency, seeking agency. Try to get inside of the head of what your potential clients might be posting here when they're kind of looking for referrals and looking for proposals, and just search for those terms. Another term for RFP would be something like procurement. And yeah, just play around with some of these terms because there's a ton of different ways you can kind of phrase the same thing, right? So keeping tabs on it is a great idea. And real quick, I wanted to talk about something I don't recommend, which is actually probably the most common thing I see freelancers doing on the site, which is, and I even saw one here as I was doing the search earlier. And it's just basically a freelancer posting to their network and saying, hey, I'm a freelancer, I'm seeking work in whatever, blah, blah, blah. The fact is, I'm sorry to say, but nobody cares what you're looking for. Nobody really wants to know what you need or what your business is looking for. What they care about is themselves, right? And so, yes, you might get a couple people from your network helping you out once or twice with this strategy, but in my opinion, it's not really a long-term strategy. I don't think you'll see sustainable results over the course of a long term by posting this sort of thing where it's like, hey, reach out to me, I'm looking for work. Because to be honest, there's a ton of people posting stuff like that, so you don't really stand out. Okay, so another thing you can do on LinkedIn is follow hashtags. So if you do hashtag RFP, for example, you'll see that up here at the top in this blue button, you can follow that actual hashtag. And it's already turned up here, one RFP. And as you can see, several other ones as well here. So that's an interesting thing I would play with as well. Look for hashtags as you do these searches, and then you can just kind of follow the actual hashtags. Another tip for you which is similar to the Slack groups video that I did. You can find specific groups related to your niche. So for example, if you're a freelance writer that really helps a specific niche, like maybe the events industry, or you help online course creators, you could search for a group of online course creators. And you would do that by clicking here on more and clicking groups. So as you can see, there's a ton of different groups related to people who make courses. And I'd approach this very similarly to how I'd approach the Slack community. So just be helpful, provide value, send out links to articles that answer any questions they may be. Again, I'd refer back to that Slack video to how I'd approach the groups on LinkedIn. And one last note here about LinkedIn. In addition to using LinkedIn to find leads, I'd also recommend using LinkedIn to follow up with leads you find elsewhere. So I'd follow kind of the same approach as I just walked through with the RFP. Send a friend request, and in that friend request, include a message letting them know that you've applied to their project or their RFP via email or however it is that you applied. And then after they've accepted your request, follow up with them with simple one-line messages. And remember to always not be pushy. Instead, just be patient and be very human and very conversational. And I think you'll see a lot of really great leads here on LinkedIn that you have a great chance of winning because you're building a rapport with them before asking for the sale.